Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're joining us from. We're glad to have you in these very exciting sessions, which we are hoping that at the end of it, you will be very inspired and optimistic about our future. This session will feature some unbelievable stories of very young people between the age of 16 and 25 who managed to create working tech solutions to tackle crime issues. Now, at the beginning of this session, I would first like to start by introducing our speakers. Let me share my screen. So, we have from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, we have Gilberto Duarte, who is a Prevention and Criminal Justice Officer. We have Eileen Brewer, who is a director of the first accelerator, startup accelerator in the Trafficking Accelerator. We have our presenters from the American Councils for International Education, Dakin Valentin, who is a country director of the American Councils in Armenia. And we also have Aikanish Sidikova, who is Justice Accelerator Program Assistant in Kyrgyzstan for the American Councils. And now we will also introduce the main reason why we are here, our youth participants, these amazing young people who inspire us every day with their talent, creativity, global citizen mindset, and energy and motivation to solve the most pressing issues in their communities. So we have from Armenia, Ellen, Elena, and Anahit. Can you say hi? Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Have you here? And we have from Kyrgyzstan, we have Kansada, we have Lola, and we also have
Hello, we are really excited to be here today.
Thank you very much.
Happy to see you.
So meet yourself, and we will give you the floor a bit later when we ask you to show what you do, which is really, really exciting. What is the goal of the session that we are running at the moment? We would like to share with you the E4J's long journey in motivating and supporting young people to create tech solutions for tackling rule of law issues. It started almost 4 years ago with organizing a few hackathons with the idea to co-create a game. And at the very beginning, when we came up with this idea, we have a lot of actions who are like, are you serious? Can such kind of young people develop tech solutions? It's there for that. And almost 4 years later, we actually have students between the age of 16 and 18 who managed to basically start their own startups that are technology to solve real challenges and real problems in the field of crime and rule of law in their communities. How this happened, I'm gonna give now to Gilberto to tell us more and to tell the story of this years-long journey of how basically E4J started involving youth with technical skills in order to solve the rule issues. So hi Gilberto, many thanks for having you here. So my first question to you would be, what are the activities that E4J is working at the moment on supporting youth and that are creating tech solutions that address rule of law issues?
Thank you very much, Yane. I will actually a little bit before that and just say that it's a pleasure to be talking to all of you here today, especially considering that we are organizing this event as part of the 14th UN Congress on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice. The 13th Congress, or the last Congress before this one, was actually held in Doha, Qatar. And the outcome of that Congress was the Doha Declaration. And it was a very innovative document because it called upon member states and the international community to involve young people in promoting the rule of law, as well as in developing educational opportunities for young people. With that declaration and with the support of the State of Qatar, who provided financial contributions to the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, we developed a global program to implement the Doha Declaration. And part of that program is the Education for Justice initiative, where we currently work with students, educators, and member states, non-governmental organizations in the private sector all over the world. One of the very first things that we realized, and as Yana mentioned, was that we needed to develop different ways to educate young people on rule of law issues. And one of the ideas for that was exactly to develop games. And one thing that we also realized was that we could not do that without actually involving young people themselves. One thing that we need to keep in mind is that if we want to work with young people to promote the rule of law, we need to involve them from the very beginning. And we have done that in the Education for Justice initiative through hackathons. On the one hand, we developed a series. I think that in total we ended up organizing over the course of 3 years, 7 different hackathons with different partners throughout the world, as well as more recently the development of a pilot program called the Justice Accelerators. Our challenge was rather simple in all of these programs: to develop tech solutions to promote the rule of law, addressing one rule of law, which could range from general crime prevention issues, violence against women, access to justice, to more specific and complex issues such as organized crime, fighting corruption, or preventing or addressing human trafficking. Overall, we involved young people and tapped into their creativities. And this was a very rewarding experience for us because not only did we learn, but we also worked with young people to show them that they should take the lead in promoting the rule of law. And you don't actually need to be a policeman, a prosecutor, a forensic scientist to promote the rule of law. You can promote the rule of law using technology, especially if you have the skills to do that. It's also about being mindful of how young people can make a meaningful contribution to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And we have many targets and goals that address rule of law issues. So this is more or less the gist of how we developed this in the Education for Justice initiative. And you will hear, of course, from some of our key players in just a bit. I wanted to highlight just before wrapping up this first round of questions that the latest initiative we developed, which is the Justice Accelerators program, was also really interesting for us because this was a program that we developed to work in an acceleration model spanning the course of a few months. And the objective of this program was not just to develop a tech solution, but also to work with young people in creating entrepreneurship opportunities, skills development, and also making sure that we build up their entrepreneurship skills to focus on business models, how they can actually reach out to the community and focus on the social impact of the rule of law solutions they're developing. So we hope that you can hear a little bit more from them. I'm going to stop here right now and hand it over back to Yannick, but I just wanted to, at this point, thank you all very much for being with us today. And we hope that you can benefit from this event and be inspired to a certain extent to promote the rule of law through technology, young people, as well as education. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Gilberto. I'm going to go back to you probably in a few minutes with a few more questions because it's very interesting how you managed to basically create this setup and empower so many young tech-savvy people to create so many amazing projects. We have also people from and young people actually from Nigeria. We have a guy and Olua Toby. Those are actually the winners of the 2020 Hackathon for Justice held in Lagos, and it was organized together with Facebook, and we had a lot of students coming from universities from Lagos and Nigeria as a whole, and they created something really interesting within just a few days, and we just want to show to you how exciting is the hackathon event, what kind of creating a useful solutions could be really developed just in a few days. So I'm going to pass now the floor to a guy who is going to talk on behalf of their team. They were a team of 3, and to tell us more about what they developed and how was their experience during the hackathon. Guys, the floor is yours. Guy, can you hear us? I think there is some
Hello,
issues.
everybody.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, hey, nice to have you here. I know it's pretty early in Lagos now. It's like around 3:30, 3:40, sorry, in the morning. So many thanks for being here, and I hope it's okay for you now to share with us a little bit more about your experience during the hackathon last year.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the opportunity. So I'm here with my teammate Toby Ateniola. Together we'll do the presentation. So let me just talk about my video.
Hi, we can see you now.
All right, okay. So I'm here with my teammate Toby Ateniola, and together we're going to do the presentation. So early last year, we were privileged to be part of the hackathon organized by these departments of the UN in conjunction with Facebook and some other stakeholders in the country, which is targeted at human trafficking and a bunch of other things. So here is what we discovered, that annually about 24 million people, according to the report, are trafficked, and about 64% of that goes for unpaid labor. 19% of this is actually sex trafficking, and then 16% is also state-sponsored labor. I see all this is a crime against humanity, but there's no adequate way of checking it. That's why we, as a team, call ourselves Predex.
I think a guy is having some internet issues. I think we're going to go back to him a bit later. Unfortunately, sorry for these technical issues. Let's go to Dagon and Iconush, our partners from the American Councils for International Education. They're going to tell us more about the new program that we've been running together in the last, I think, 6 months already. It's about making sure that young kids are not only equipped with necessary technical skills, but also have a better understanding about the rule of law issues and sustainable development, as well as entrepreneurship skills with which they could be able to launch their startups and projects and make a real impact in their community. Let me start first with Dagan and Iconush asking you, tell us more about the American Councils for International Education. What are you working on now, and what are the programs that you're involved in general? Dagan? Ikonush, are you still here?
Hello everyone. Yannick, could you please share the presentation?
Oh, one back. Okay.
Great. So, hello everyone once again, and it's a great pleasure to be here with you on this event. And my name is Eileen Brewer, and I'm from Kyrgyzstan, presenting American Council's Kyrgyzstan, and I've been working as an program assistant for last 6 months, and it's been such a pleasure to work with the youth. And now it's this unique opportunity, and I'm really enjoying it to actually share the great stories and achievement of these youth on this Congress. So, Dagan,
all right. So I think I fixed my internet. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just briefly about American Councils. So American Councils, we pride ourselves in being a leader in international education, organizing exchange experiences between the US and our home countries from across the world. And we'll see a map here in a second from all of our regional offices. American Council's portfolio is a wide range of not only exchanges, but also in-country programming. Since we live and work in the countries, we do a lot of local trainings and whatever the government, we work with local governments to establish some needs and address those needs. Next slide.
So American Council is also a diverse portfolio of activities. We are engaged in sectors as well as a diverse population in each of these sectors, as you see, such as academic study, community outreach, cultural exchange, educational development, training, and etc. And next slide, please.
And so one of the great opportunities of working with the UNODC in this particular project is our broad presence. And so working with this pilot in just Kyrgyzstan and Armenia really gives us a foothold in understanding how we might be able to deliver this broadly in the different contexts. And so here you see we maintain a staff of over 425 professionals from across the world. We have alumni from all of our programs that we can engage throughout when they return back to their home countries or they're alumni of our program. So over 94,000 alumni are found in our countries. And actually we had alumni of our program support us in the delivery of this program. And so our vision, obviously, they're on the screen. And so what we'd like to do over the next couple minutes is just each of us tell about what we do in the country specifically to help the program grow on the ground and during also COVID. So how did we engage with our youth during this distant manner? Next.
So, as you know, Kyrgyzstan, as well as other countries, is dedicated to achieve sustainable development goals. So, in order to institutionalize the process of adaptation SDG to our national conditions and integrate them into the country's program, so the Kyrgyz Republic was established the coordination committee. Implementation of the SDG under the Prime Minister of Kyrgyz Republic, and right now it has the committee has representatives of legislative branch, ministries, and public bodies. So international and governmental organizations. And right now the country cooperation with the UN system works actively in strengthening sustainable development with the focus on national priorities and interests of Kyrgyzstan. And next, please.
And so also continuing off of Aikanush's sharing there of the SDG work, along with all of the other countries in the world, Armenia is also engaged in the SDGs. And so I've a couple of facts here that I drew from. Armenia happens to have, in collaboration with the United Nations, has set up the world's first SDG Innovation Lab, and that was in November of 2017. Also, specifically, since our work focused on number 16, I pulled this from the National Review of SDG report, and just as to help describe the need in Armenia. So I quote, "Further efforts are needed on behalf of the rule of law institutions in Armenia to ensure justice, public security, and access to justice, which continues to be major issues and priority of government. Citizen participation, voice, and accountability through processes, parliamentary and political development, civic engagement, and women's political participation still remain to be tackled under SDG 16, end quote. So I think that the need in our countries, our relative countries between Kyrgyzstan and Armenia, and the projects that we implemented. And so each of our countries here, we're going to highlight a couple of the things. And so this is a screenshot of one of the pitches that we were able to do and was super fun to do online. Next slide. So in terms of the program, we had three sections that each of our countries were involved in to help make this: the sprint, the marathon, and the pitch. And so during the sprint, this was that week-long hackathon, but we did it online. And so here you see our trainers helped engage our youth in a really fun and try their best to engage them in this online way. And I think they did a very successful job. This is a screenshot of Hat Day. So everyone put on a hat, shared their favorite hat, and really kept it lively and engaging, even in an online format. Part of our role during this from our offices were just to call our participants, make sure that they had what they needed, and really engage them. Also, during this sprint, we engaged local entrepreneurs. And so in Armenia, we actually had an alumni of one of our programs, a professional fellows program, and he's a local social entrepreneur. And so we're able to find that local voice to help youth in our countries really share and understand the local impact and the local social entrepreneurial ecosystem. And then finally, during the marathon, kind of that longest section of time, we also had mentors that worked with local mentors. So these were local Armenians that were able to help our youth. We had Zoom calls frequently, so we organized those from our side. We also tried our best to keep it as lively as possible and engaging. And then also in the pitch, we had local experts from our local impact hub here in Armenia that actually contributed to the pitch. So we had a lot of what was really nice about our involvement in working with the UNODC was that integration of local impact and that local connection, so that way our youth could have a very strong connection and support on the local side. Next. And so here's a screenshot, so from clockwise from the left. And so this is our one of our mentors, and Gohar here, she's actually, she practices law, and so she was able to help provide some insights to our youth in the rule of law context. And so as our youth were developing their solutions, a key component in being able to and understand, were the solutions that the youth were developing real, were they needed, and so having these discussions with the mentor was really nice. There on the right hand side is that social, one of his businesses that he's that this person's doing, and then we also a screenshot from our training of our local sprint. So that's for.
All right. So as Dagan mentioned earlier, we had those amazing weeks, and our participants gained a lot of experience. So as you can see, that's the screenshot of the last day after the pitch presentation. There was participants expressing their appreciation to everyone who was involved in this amazing project, and we had during those sprint weeks and marathon, our youth had a amazing opportunity to be in sessions with the social entrepreneur Jenny, who is actually also currently working in UN Kyrgyzstan. So one of the key things that she could do for our youth was that she offered free consultation hours marathon, and also American councils helped the teams establish and work with the team dynamics and the group problem solving. So also American councils provided a solution trainings for both Armenia and Kyrgyzstan participants. American councils also worked with teams to practice, refine, and perfect their pitches through the multiple sessions, through the calls. Next, please. And what I would like to share here, so a couple of screenshots and pictures of our very successful participants. And the first one is our mentors, Kuzjibek, who is actually alumni of hackathon, one of your project, one of the UN projects. And next one is our tech mentor, Sanira Majikova, who owns her own mentoring company, who is very successful, and our participants could gain really, really good experience and good knowledge of programming. So, and there is a screenshot after one of the sessions, our happy participants sharing their mood. And I also would like to highlight our two participants. It's actually a success story about Aymaral Chomokova and Jasmine Shabiyeva, how this program affected not only how they could apply to another programs and to become successful, and how this affected to their other career life, where Aymaral Chumokova could apply to Global Ugrad Exchange program to the United States, and Jasmine Shabiyeva, she applied for the USKF program, and now she passed the first round and she's on the way to get her scholarship. So I think those are the amazing stories which I'm happy of. Next, please. So, Dagan, do you have any other stories?
Yeah, so we actually want to kick off, and so thank you so much. So to wrap up our sharing between Ikanush and I, between our involvement as American councils, the partnership with UNODC and the team working on the E4J Justice Accelerators has been fantastic. And I think you'll see that through our youth projects that we invited today. And that's what I want to do next. We want to hear for youth. That's what we're here for, as Yane said. And so I'm going to invite our Armenian participants. First, I guess we're going by alphabetical. There's no favoritism, I promise. We're jumping right into Armenia. And so I'm going to invite that team to go ahead and present their work. And then we will continue from there with the student presentations.
Hello, everyone. We represent Grandma, the winning startup of Justice Accelerator. Before talking about the startup, I want to first of all congratulate all women for the International Women's Day. And I want to say that every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. And I hope today we would be even more inspired and even more empowered to take action and contribute to the development of the world. Now back to the startup. I am Anahit, the visionary of the startup. Then we have Ellen and Elena.
Hi everyone, I am the developer of Grandma and responsible for the all Grandma the product.
And we have Ellen.
Hi, I'm Ellen, and I'm the marketing manager of the team.
Okay, so what does our startup solve? There are certain words that we frustratingly know very well. Those words include bullying, domestic violence, discrimination, racism, and even terrorism. These words can arise from various sources. However, the most dangerous source so far is the internet. There, all types of hate and violent speech and propaganda can spread within seconds and leading to really devastating consequences. In Armenia, 91% of people have witnessed hate speech, and 1 out of 3 people have themselves been the victim. Many governments are concerned about the issue, so they passed laws banning hate and violent speech, and so did the Armenian government. However, the biggest issue is that it is still difficult to detect all such cases, and the majority of hate speech goes without being reported. So that's why we developed Grandma. Now, Elena would talk about it.
So, let's understand how does Grandma actually work. It uses a machine learning model, more specifically a deep learning model, to detect hate speech from any website. Basically, it goes to those websites and gather the texts and links from them, and using machine learning model calculates the hate speech percentage from those texts. After this, it stores the results in our database. So it is but the user sees it as an extension, Google extension, so they can just enable it and just browse in the website, and the Grandma will cover all those hate speech and violent speech, so the user will not see it and not contemplate its browser environment.
And now Ellen will discuss what we have done so far and where are we looking forward to.
During Justice Accelerator, we gained knowledge about different SDGs and issues countries are facing, learned how to be a team player, gained entrepreneurial mindset, and helped see problems as opportunities. They guided us to be community-oriented and inspired us to believe that with the help of technologies we can become a change maker. Thanks to Justice Accelerator, we went on to actively engage with potential users, and we started to cooperate with 2 local human rights NGOs and 1 international organization. And furthermore, we moved on to become one of the few teams to get access to EPIC Entrepreneurship and Product Innovation Center that will help us scale. Also, last week we received 2 offers of collaboration from autism centers located in Ireland and Canada. So our goal is to make the internet accessible and friendly for every individual and to hold people accountable for their words. With this in mind, we are striving to have an impact not only on our communities, but also beyond its borders.
Thank you so
Thank you very much, Team Brandman. That is really impressive.
Yeah, thank you. So I think then we'll move to Kyrgyzstan for them to explain and share about their project.
Hello. Yes, so we will take a second for our team member to share our presentation. Hanzade, if you could please do that.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know if So is the one who is supposed to share the screen in the presentation, but she's having very bad internet connection.
Give me a second. Let me try to share the screen.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So give me just a second, and we will start presenting. Oops, I'm really having some connection issues. Okay, so now we are ready to present. Kyrgyzstan went through 3 revolutions in the last several years, but we are yet to see any significant changes. The main problem of the local society is the lack of legal literacy. People can't find answers to their questions. There are no online legal sources that are oriented to Kyrgyz law. On top of that, people do not have access to free quality legal services, while at the same time, thousands of students majoring in law do not have a chance to gain any practical skills. We developed a project that tightly links to the promotion of the rule of law to solve the existing problem. We offer a website platform for all citizens to get free and safe legal advice and help from law students of law universities in Kyrgyzstan. By this, we increase the rate of legal literacy of our citizens because each individual can ask any legal concerns and get them solved for free. Also, our website helps law students to get relevant work experience, which makes them more competent and competitive before they graduate. We are the first ever law blogging platform in Kyrgyzstan. It enables attorneys and law professionals to promote our legal literacy in a more engaging way. We partnered with local law universities to provide free and safe legal help to our community. In each university, there are upperclassmen law students available to help with any legal questions under the supervision of the experienced law professors of respective universities.
Citizens can find us on all social media platforms and use our website to leave a request for a consultation with the university they trust. We teamed up with two major law universities of Kyrgyzstan, AUCA and International Alatoy University. Now we have 100 law students in total. 15 attorneys in Bishkek agreed to write legal blogs on our platform. So far, we helped 25 people get advice and help in Russian and Kyrgyz languages. 9 of them were individually accompanied by law students throughout the whole legal process. These are the goals that we've set for ourselves by the end of this year. To partner with 15 more law universities, to attract 100 more lawyers for writing legal blogs, to make our technology more powerful by adding an FAQ section to add more interaction with users, and launching a mobile web version of our service. Our service and content is self-generated. The main expenses of our project are website hosting and domain name maintenance, as well as SMM promotions. With the funding that we are about to receive, we are planning on buying and adding more premium software tools, running paid SMM, involving software developers to reach the next level, hiring professional lawyers to write legal blogs, and starting our own podcast studio to promote legal education. Meet the team of the guards. Thank you for your attention. We really appreciate the opportunity that we had to implement the project to help our local communities, and it's been a great experience so far.
Thank you very much. Lola, that was amazing, very interesting project. So we had one tool, machine learning tool that was developed by the team in Armenia, which is basically identifying hate speech using machine learning and artificial intelligence. Very impressive solution. And then we had the matchmaking platform for people who can't afford legal advice and those young professionals who are looking for entry-level jobs. So also very interesting and very impressive solution. Already working on that. I just want to elaborate a little bit more to say that these youth teams are actually now in the phase of scaling, of rolling out their products. As I said, also already working solutions. I will try now to get back to our talented young people in Nigeria to show what they produced in the last year hackathon. Because a guy is having power cuts, I will try to connect now to Oluwatobi and ask him to present on the behalf of their team the solution they created last year. Oluwatobi, can we connect now?
Yes, hello.
Oh, thanks.
Just want to confirm that my audio is working.
Yes, working.
Okay.
It's very good.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is.
Thanks for joining in this early hour, and yeah, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Oluwatobi Ateniola. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a member of Team Predex. We won the 2020 Hackathon for Justice, organized in Lagos, Nigeria. Out of all the interesting problems we're there for us to solve in promoting the rule of law and also in fighting crime, one that really interested us and we decided to develop a solution to tackle was human trafficking. So human trafficking is a transnational process whereby millions of people are being recruited and transported globally and both internally. And according to a statistics released by the International Labour Organization in 2017, over 24 million people are currently living in modern day slavery, with up to 64% of them being exploited for labor, 18% of them being exploited for sex, and 16% of them being used as state-owned labor. So that was something that really resonated with my team, because human trafficking from Africa is also a very big issue. So we decided to develop a solution to tackle that problem. So with the support of the engineers from Facebook and also the representatives from the United Nations, and also the engineers from Andela, were able to develop we're able to develop an API called Predex. So Predex is a platform agnostic API, which uses a deep learning model I and my team built and trained. So the idea is that a lot of instances of human trafficking usually start from the internet. People are being contacted, and people are being contacted, and people are being manipulated in order to be trafficked. It's also a case that has been very prominent, where people are being recruited for various terrorism acts through the internet. So we developed Predex as an API, which different social medias or forums can easily integrate, and then it uses sentiment analysis to get contextual information from conversations, and then detect the likelihood of a person being a predator or being a trafficker, and also try to protect the victim by giving various information or websites on where they can seek help in order to prevent themselves from being manipulated. So I'll be sharing my screen currently to show a demo video we made on how Predex works. Let me sort that out. Okay. I want to confirm if my screen is currently visible. Hello.
Yes, you're sharing your screen now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is a. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is So this is a mock social network we made, where Predex has already been integrated inside. So I'm going to show how Predex can anonymously listen on conversations, and then try to try to get contextual information to detect if one of the participants is trying to manipulate the other, and then warn the potential victim. So the conversation on the left is the person who is going to be playing the predator, and the conversation on the right is the predator is trying to manipulate. So the screen on the right is from the perspective of the person the predator is trying to manipulate, and the screen on the left is from the perspective of the predator. So as the conversations are being fed into Predex, so Predex uses the model we trained, and then it tries to get the contextual information. So just to fast forward because of time, this is the conversation. This is the other person trying to introduce each other, and then at the particular point in the conversation where the predator types, "Are your parents home? Can I come over?" Predex runs the deep learning model and tries to, and then Predex runs the deep learning model, and then is able to detect the contextual information based on the age of the person, and also on the kind of question the person is asking. So the person asks, "Are your parents home? Can I come over?" So it's a suspicious flag, and Predex immediately flags that without the person asking the question knowing. So Predex flags that from the person being asked, and then gives a warning. So in a more stable implementation, Predex would also, apart from the warning, Predex would also include links on where the person can find assistance, maybe different organizations that handle cases like this. So this is just one implementation of Predex, and Predex also exists as an open source project. So anyone who is interested or who would love to contribute to it can easily go to the GitHub repository and contribute to Predex, and also can make use of the model and also the API and the web script we created in order to train the model and deploy the API. It was a very exciting project, and we really hope to push it forward, and also to use it to reduce the instances of human trafficking which occurs through the internet.
Can you still hear me? Hello, Toby?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, just two more questions. Can you tell us more about, because some of people from the audience might not really know what a hackathon is and how it works. Could you tell us more about how you formed the team? Was it before the hackathon? Did you do it during the hackathon? And how did you decide on what kind of solution and what kind of issue you're going to address?
Okay. Apologies. So we formed the team during the hackathon. Um, the, so the team, my team members from Predex and also the other teams that participated in the hackathon were all formed randomly by the organizers of the hackathon for justice, and it was a very interesting experience because it gave each and every one of us the opportunity to work with people we hadn't worked with before, and also um, experience different skill sets and different philosophies. And that was something that we really leveraged in order to be able to come together and listen to different ideas before settling on the project that we decided to work on. And in coming into terms of developing Predex, like I said, human trafficking is something that um, is a very big issue, and particularly from Africa and from my country, we hear cases of people being trafficked out of my country, and we decided that we could leverage technology in order to solve this issue, and that's the reason why we decided to develop Predex in order to solve the issue. And one interesting thing about the way the teams were organized, one of the benefits I saw from each team member being organized randomly, it gave us the opportunity to combine different skill sets that each person presented in order to develop a very interesting and unique solution. So I was the one that developed the deep learning model, and I was also responsible for writing the web scripts to get the data sets that we needed. And Samuel, one of my team members, was one that developed the API, and also Tomisi and Damola were also the ones that handled. They were the ones that created the mock social network and the mock social network, and handled other aspects of the development.
Great. Thank you very much, and I hope you will continue this great work, because I think it's very useful and has a great potential. I'm going to go back to Gilberto with a few further questions. Just want to ask you, I mean, we saw quite a lot of impressive work that those young people have created in the past few years. Some of them had like very limited time to do that, and we can see their talent. We can see the very useful outcomes of their work, which is pretty impressive. But what is the main what importance? Why is it important for the E4J to involve such kind of tech-savvy young people to work on promoting the rule of law?
Thanks, Yane. That's a good and very important question. I would like to, first of all, start by saying that when we talk about the SDGs in the 2030 Agenda, it's been very clear to everyone that implementing that agenda requires a whole of society approach. It's not just up to governments or the private sector to do something about it. Civil society, people in general, regardless of whether they work for any specific entity, everyone needs to be involved. And this means working with young people as well. And I would just like to briefly mention the 2030 Agenda is assessed yearly by member states in New York during the high-level political forum, and in 2019, which was the last one that took place physically. It was also clear to member states, and the outcome documents do show this, we are not exactly on track to achieving SDG 16 or the rule of law focused SDGs and the relevant targets. So it's more than ever important to involve young people in promoting the rule of law. So that's one thing that I would like to say. Second, we need young people's creativity. We need governments and organizations to be open to receiving ideas from young people. And this receptiveness means that they will be more enthusiastic and more involved in making change that is meaningful to society. We can see from all of the applications that were mentioned here today, we're not just talking about peace and the rule of law in the abstract sense. We're talking about real problems that affect real people. We're talking about violent extremism, access to legal aid, preventing human trafficking. All of this has consequences. and involving young people is essential to do that. The other thing I would like to point out is that, for starters, today is International Women's Day. And when we talk about both the rule of law and STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and related subjects, we see that in both groups of fields, rule of law and STEM, women are the minority in STEM and rule of law focused careers. There aren't that many women police officers, prosecutors, or judges. We also don't see that many women in the IT sector, for example. And this means that we are tackling both issues at once. And this is really important because it's a question of inequality to the root. We cannot, for example, talk about how issues affect women if women are never involved in these issues. It's the same goes for young people. Tackling gender equality when it comes to the rule of law, as well as education and access to STEM careers, goes hand in hand also with ensuring that no one is left behind and making sure that the issues that affect women are properly addressed with their meaningful and effective participation. So this is, I think, one of the most important elements of working not only with young people, but also making sure that they understand that gender equality is at the root of everything that we need to tackle when it comes to promoting the rule of law.
Thank you very much, and it's nice that we can also discuss, and I think we can continue the discussion about the involvement of women and the gender perspective, given that today is the 8th of March. Just one more question for you, Gilberto. We know that starting this initiative and working on those programs in the hackathons was pretty innovative at the very beginning for the organization and IFUJ. Could you tell us more about what are the main challenges for organizing those programs and events?
Thanks. I think that one of the biggest challenges we have is really connecting with the local communities. And this is why partnerships with local organizations such as American councils or UNDELA in the case of Nigeria has been so crucial for us, because while UNODC works across the globe and so does the UN, when we partner with civil society organizations, it's easier and for us not only to expand our views, but to establish closer links to local communities. And this is, in the presentation from American Council, this was also quite evident. The SDGs are also about partnerships. We can't work alone, otherwise we risk not only wasting resources, but harming the potential for ownership of everything we do while trying to advance the 2030 agenda.
Thank you very much, Gilberto. And now talking about partnerships and the support that we get from different people and organizations, I'm actually very happy here to give the floor to Eileen Brewer, who is the director of the Trafficking Accelerator in Iraq. She's been with the IFUJ actually since supporting basically IFUJ since 2018. So she has seen most of the journey from from the hackathons for the efforts to involve young people until this developing like a full-scale program for people to be able to make a really market-ready product. So Eileen, first of all, thanks a lot for joining us. Prior to working for and being a director of the Trafficking Accelerator, she's been working for several companies in the Silicon Valley, and the last one being Symantec. So first of all, Eileen, Could you share us more, just briefly, like how did you get involved with E4J and the work of UNODC?
Sure. So in 2018, I was living in Silicon Valley, and I was approached to host a 3-day hackathon at Symantec for 25 youth coming from 5 countries. I'd never heard of UNODC before, but I have been practicing open-mindedness and say yes as often as possible. And so I said yes, and we hosted, and it was a great experience being able to see these youth from many different countries come together and sit in teams and hack for several days over rule of law topics. And then I was able to support the events that we held in Washington, D.C. in 2018 and 2019. And then this last year, I've been able to support the program that we turned into a virtual program and provide training and be engaged from June all the way through now. We're still working with the teams. It's been great.
Great, thank you. So tell us more, like as somebody who comes from the perspective of from Silicon Valley, and at the same time being involved in UNODC programs and hackathons. What did you observe was similar or different from what you were used to and have seen prior as hackathons and programs like this?
So my previous exposure to hackathons had just been with local youth and adults that are in Silicon Valley and have a lot of access to coding camps and mentors all around them. So I was really impressed to see these youth that were coming from different countries learn how to code on their own, self-taught by what they could find online, rarely having any mentors or other peers to work with, and to make it all the way through a competition and make it all the way to Silicon Valley as part of one of the winning teams was very impressive. I was also impressed in one of the teams came from Bolivia, and they mentioned that they learned how to code during their senior year in high school. It was one of the required courses in high school. And I thought that was also very impressive because many high schools, or the majority of high schools in California and the US, do not have coding as an optional course to take. So it was very cool to see the progress they have there. And the determination of the kids to code for 3 days straight while it's their first trip to Silicon Valley, first trip to the United States, and they would stay in a conference room and code for 3 days instead of complaining and wanting to go out and see the sights. I also had never seen the rule of law topics applied to a hackathon. So I was very skeptical at first about how is that going to work. It just didn't fit for me yet. But after Gilberto explained some of the rule of law topics and the UN Sustainable Development Goals 16 and some examples like the human trafficking and the drug related topics, the weapons, child bride, things like that, the kids immediately picked up on it and were able to come up with solutions that were very relevant to their peer group in their countries. So it was a lot of fun to watch what they were doing and turning these concepts into tangible products that they could develop.
Thank you, Eileen. And while you're talking now about the tangible product that they developed, do you recall some interesting products that came out of those hackathons and in general programs?
Yes, so a couple of them you just heard about, which are very interesting. And also in previous years, I've seen gamifying the education for young girls around the laws around child brides. So they could go through an app and play a game with questions and prompts, and then they would actually learn their rights that they have in their country around being a child bride, that they weren't required to follow the requests, and they had a path to legal assistance, which is just very close to my heart to imagine what that must be like for them. And then to see these teams reach out to law enforcement and say, if I create an app that's able to detect crime happening on the street, can we partner with you to create a way for that crime to be reported directly to the police? So just watching them grow and build leadership skills and be able to have conversations with local government agencies, or some of them reached out to law students, university law students, to provide legal assistance to people that had no funds for legal assistance. All of it has been a lot of fun to watch.
You touch on the grow thing with those brilliant young minds. You're now supporting the IFUJ in their broader program called the Justice Accelerator that was recently presented by our friends from the American councils. What are some of the differences you have seen from now, how it works versus other hackathons and programs you have supported?
So usually hackathons will last 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And at the most 5 days. What we had been doing for E4J in previous years would be have the youth together for 5 days. This year in 2020, because we could not travel and we could not go to those countries and spend a solid 5 days with them, we ended up building a program that went for months, which is entirely different than most hackathons. So in August, we provided a 1-week sprint where we did the initial training. We brought youth together that had never met before, and they had to work in a COVID environment. So they may have all been from the same country, but they have still today have not had an opportunity to meet each other. And they have come together and worked as a team consistently from August all the way to now. We were able to provide additional topics of training, which we normally couldn't fit in a typical hackathon because we had months. And so we could give them training. They could go and work on that topic and be gone for 2 or 3 weeks. And then we would bring them back and provide additional training. So instead of just focusing on how to build products, we could also focus on how to build a business, how to use the lean canvas model, how to use design thinking, how to complete market research. And then we could leave them to work for a while and then bring them back again and then teach them how to pitch your product for judging and how to reach out into your community and build partnerships and how to reach out to government agencies to get research and statistical data to back up your concepts. So these youth learned many skills. They learned conflict resolution. They had to be on a team with peers that they hadn't met. They had to come to agreement on the direction of what they were doing. They had problem solving. They had marketing research, networking, collaboration, and presenting skills. So they learned much, much more than just some coding for a week and build an app. So it's been very impressive to see the difference between what we would normally do in a 3 or 4 day hackathon.
I think thanks for that, for those insights. It's actually very one of the proofs that I think the growth that we are talking about is that also we can say now that one of the teams that won the Justice Accelerator actually get accepted to a program that's for grown-ups, for professionals, and for university students, and join the program for growing their startup, which is amazing, an amazing achievement. And I hope that in the future we will see much more teams and products getting that successful. One last thing I wanted to ask you, I already asked it to some extent to see Gilberto and UNODC perspective on that side, but what do you think is like the formula having a successful hackathon or a youth engagement program? What are the different things? Is somebody now, I mean, we have audience here, somebody from the audience wants to do that and run such kind of a program or an event, what are the things that they need to take into account?
I think from supporting this for the last several years, one thing that really stands out is you really have to have the right partners on ground, especially this last year since we could not travel. It was critical that we had strong partners inside the countries. And I will say an example, just 2 months ago, I was a judge for a program where they brought together university students from different countries, and those university students had 3 months to come up with a solution and pitch a solution. And the youth in this program, the E4J program, far exceeded what the college students had done in a 3-month period. And I take that back to who the partners are and having that collaboration and develop a really well-designed program that all that training got put in. There were local mentors. They actually initiated and delivered products inside of a 3-month period, whereas the college students were just pitching concepts. There was actually no active work done on the product itself. So that really stood out to me. The right partners can provide the space to collaborate. We had to pivot many times in this program due to COVID, and the partners and the UN team were able to easily get on calls and be flexible and open-minded and brainstorm and deliver the program differently. Even after we started, we had to make changes as we went. And without the right partner, that could have never happened. They were very willing and very supportive to work with us and change as we go. Another thing too is to develop programs that go beyond just coding. So think about what else you can teach in a hackathon besides basic coding. In fact, we never taught actual coding. We asked the students to come with coding skills. Everything that we taught had to do with beyond that, the lean canvas, the design thinking, marketing, etc. So think about the other leadership and business and marketing skills you can deliver in a hackathon beyond just the code part. And then always have the right tools. So we've been using Slack and Trello and introduced program management skills to the youth for tracking all of the work that they had to get done. And Slack ended up being a very strong tool. A lot of these tools have free versions, so there's no cost for implementing them. And having the right tools makes a big difference as well.
Thank you very much, Eileen. So now we have around 15 minutes left. I just want to open the floor now for questions from the audience. You will be able to pose questions actually in the chat box, which is on the right-hand side of your window. So please, if you're interested, if you want to know more about what our young, talented people have created, or in general about the programs that we've been running in the last few years at E4J, please do that. We can elaborate more and tell you more about what, because I mean, the time is limited. You see that we have had so many speakers, so I'm pretty sure you have something that you want to know more about.
While our guests in the channel are getting their thoughts put together and in our question box, I have just a brief question for each of our teams. And just so that way we can get to the next question, I'd ask for one answer per team. So straightforward, fairly simple question. And this is it, and I'll give you a little bit of think time. What was your biggest achievement or proudest moment during the Justice Accelerator or your hackathon for our Nigeria team? So what was your biggest achievement / proudest moment? One answer per team.
I wanted to say that for me, the proudest achievement was probably being able to constantly pivot and be open to new ideas. And I would say that it wasn't just a single moment, but it was a moment of continuous learning and changing.
Thanks, Anahit. Very cool. It's nice to be able to have that open-mindedness, just like Eileen alluded to. Awesome.
So on behalf of our team, I'll probably say that the proudest moment for us was, it's a little bit a weird example, I guess, but there were times when we would stay up until like 5 a.m. in the morning working on our project together as a team. And that was really the moment when we understood that we truly care about our project, and we kind of became like a small family. So I guess that was the best moment of our teamwork so far.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we put in a lot of those late nights, don't we?
Samuel had a comment.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi, I got here from Nigeria, speaking for Team Predex. So the proudest moments was like ideating and coming up with a working solution that would address a reward problem. So it was really interesting to see that out of nothing, so to speak, you come up with a solution that's probably useful to a whole lot of people, even beyond what you can like effectively count. So that was really, really interesting, and it was a really proud moment for us.
Absolutely, finding that impact, right, is feels really good. Thank you so much, Samuel. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask the next question again. One answer per team until we get any in the question box, and then I'll also leave it for my colleagues to also ask questions if they'd like.
I would also like to share. Can you hear me?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, also.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, you're connected. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So I wanted to comment that I'm concerned for protecting people's rights and bringing justice to all our institutions to benefit everyone and have a sustainable development. That was my core motivation to join this project. And for me, it's an honor to be a global citizen and take part in the UN initiatives, fostering a culture of lawfulness and helping the global society achieve sustainable impact on crime prevention, criminal justice, corruption prevention, and the rule of law. It truly inspires
So I think your internet connection is it's not really perfect.
Okay. Also, we might come back to you, I think, when internet kind of picks back up for you. Just under the title of this is Youth, Technology, and the Rule of Law Promoting SDG 16. I do have a question for each of our teams. Again, could you maybe briefly describe like about being a youth and addressing these rather large, kind of audacious goals of addressing SDG 16 and being youth, and how did you address those? So kind of the connection between youth and addressing and being asked to address these really amazing and interesting goals. So I'll leave that open. Please speak to that.
I want to say that it was very empowering because the majority of such programs, such accelerators, are targeted toward graduate students or university level students. So they check people's experience, people's diplomas, but in this case, it was a lot of trust towards youth and towards our ideas. And I think it was really inspirational for us and empowering at the same time to have such an opportunity.
Well, we thank you too, Anahit. I mean, it was actually you kind of like, yeah, you did a great job. So we were sure at the very beginning that you would do so. Who else wants to say something on that question? I think a guy, you're trying to connect with something, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually interesting being a youth and having to deal with these issues because probably for the first time getting to work with something far bigger than you, and you get to like a sense of realization that these are the real issues and that actually like probably not as privileged as it may be if you've never had a personal experience. So you get to lend your voice to a cause that's bigger than you from a very young age. So that's really like interesting, and I believe if we could get more youths involved, a lot of problems, or at least we could like get started on solutions and achieving the goals on target. Thanks.
Thank you, Guy. Yeah, we are also like always discussing these two things, that we're trying to provide both on one hand, like value-based education and making sure that people understand how important those topics are, and the other thing is also about opportunity. So so yeah, we're doing our best in this sense. Anyone from the guards team from Kyrgyzstan wanna add something on the last question that Dagan asked?
Yeah, I would love to add something. Actually, our team is trying to be active, but most of us have like connection issues, so I'll be like speaking the words of our members.
Yeah, you are actually the most in the best position, I think. Yeah. So go ahead.
For our team, we had really different kind of experience, but all of it was truly inspiring. We had moments when we would like address some issues in front of government officials and etc. And sometimes you would get those like, surprise looks, like you're 16/18 and you're trying to work with legal field. And sometimes you would see people get really inspired by us and try to start addressing those issues by themselves as well. So for us, it was truly an amazing experience that let us, feel like global citizens that are contributing to the local community as well as the global community.
Okay, thanks very much, Lola. I just wanna, because we are actually today, the 8th of March, the International Women's Day, I just want to talk a little bit more also on the involvement of women in this process and the gender balance. I think we will be striving a lot to make this balance and have a good representation of female students in our programs. Can you? I'm going to ask a bit my colleagues from the American councils to tell us more, because we had quite a good gender balance in the hackathons, right? Dagan, are you back?
That's it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very good.
Oh, great. Yeah. So as for recruitment, one of our roles as American councils in both Kyrgyzstan and Armenia was around recruitment, and so we helped with the application process. And one of the things that not only around gender, but also just inclusivity and diversity are important aspects of everything we do at American Council. So we really tried our best to promote not only directly to social media and recruit that way, but also direct emails to organizations that might be working with females, also with other underserved populations, reaching out to those. So part of it was on the recruitment side that we tried our best to have that higher recruitment than normal. And so that's what we did on our side. And so I think that helps describe that. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Dagan. as I said, I mean, from our perspective, during the hackathons in the program, we had like quite good gender balance when it comes to the high school programs that we are running. The thing is that very often when you run like at college university level hackathons, then it's dropping and getting much worse. So we are still like far from solving this issue, but we're working hard on it and making sure that it's getting better and better year by year. I just want to pass back the floor to Gilberto, and I want to ask him to tell us more about like what are the opportunities now when we talk about having these very young, bright minds and their potential to change the world and to work on the rule of law issues, and what does the future hold for the program of the Justice Accelerators?
Thank you very much, Janne. For starters, I would like to point out that our experience in Armenia and Kyrgyzstan was a pilot, and now comes the time where we need to take stock of this pilot so that we can develop it into a full-fledged program, which we hope will take place later this year. So stay tuned, because we are working on the future of what the Justice Accelerators program will be, and we look forward to announcing that in due time. But one thing is clear. I think that we were all so positively struck and impressed by our work with the different teams and countries, just as well as we have been through our work with the hackathons, that this is definitely an area for UNODC to keep working on. And I think that one of the most rewarding experiences that we got to see was simply witnessing how the different teams and the young people were so engaged. When, you know, part of why this is all very important for us is to see and realize that young people understand that rule of law challenges are concrete. We're not talking about world peace. We're talking about real issues that affect real people. And we cannot solve them unless we partner with civil society organizations and especially young people in different countries. Not only that, I think that it has been particularly rewarding to see such a great balance in terms of gender in all of our events. And this is really what we're also trying to achieve, because gender equality is not just about making sure that we even out. I think it's working harder so you don't have to actually work so much to achieve that 50-50. And we see this with the hackathons. These events have shown us that, you know, the gender balance is decreasing, and we have to keep working for it. We have to make the rule of law and STEM something that is accessible to everyone. And I think that this is a real driving force for the Justice Accelerators program, as well as the Education for Justice initiative. It's promoting the rule of law with young people, but also generating the tools that can empower them to do so, and then partnering with them to promote the rule of law. So I think that these are my final thoughts for today. So thank you very much, Janne.
Thank you very much, Gilberto. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Thanks to all of our amazing speakers, the youth voices that you heard today, and the amazing things they're working on. And I hope we as a community will continue supporting them in the future and give them opportunities to show what they can do and to basically impact positively their communities. Thanks very much again to all of you, and hope to see you soon. Have a great day.